Look around me and I start to see we have to sing hymns every morning, there was communion every few weeks, and I started to question it and think, why is it that people are doing this? What is the reason that they feel compelled to go and do this? Do they even know? So I started to ask people, do you know that God exists? Can you prove that Jesus was the Son of God? What about the Bible? Do you know that it's right? And the response I got every time was either detention or you can't ask these questions. You just have to believe in it. God says it, you just have to believe in it. And I thought, well, wait. If you've got no proof for it, if you don't know that this is true, then why are you following it? Why are you, I thought, wasting your time on these things? So age 11, I became an atheist. I thought, these people, they don't know what they're talking about. And I thought I was so smart, because I'd figured it out and they were still ignorant. So then I spent the rest of my teenage years and my college years and early uni telling people that they were wrong. That God doesn't exist, there's nothing out there. There's no such thing as right or wrong. You do what you want. Because if God's not there, there's no heaven or hell. There's no criteria for what's right or what's wrong. And that was the way I lived my life. And I'll tell you, brothers, if you grow up as a teenager with no definition of right or wrong, you do whatever you want. You do whatever you want, because who's there to account you? Somebody, my mum or dad, they'd say something to me. Who are you? There's no such thing as right or wrong. How can you tell me that I'm wrong? He saw me in a bit of a state. And he said, are you okay? You look a bit down. And I just said to him, just casually, I just said, look, I've been thinking recently, is there more to life than what I used to believe? And his eyes lit up when I said this. And he said, do you mean, does God exist? And I didn't mean, does God exist? But he said, do you mean, and I thought, well, I said to him, well, not really, but I'm willing to discuss it. And he said, okay. He said, let's sit down. So we sat down in one of the little break rooms, and he said to me, look, and I'll never forget this, he said, look, if we start discussing this, before we do that, I need you to buy in on something. And he said, if I prove to you that God exists, what does that mean? And I said, I thought, this guy's never going to prove that God exists. So he said, if I prove, what does it mean? I said, okay, if you can prove it, that means I have a creator. That means right and wrong exist. Heaven and hell exist. That means I'm accountable for my actions and that I have a purpose. And he said, okay. He said, if you prove to me that God doesn't exist, I'll stop being a Muslim. I thought, all right, okay. Great. So he said, we won't discuss in work. He said, we'll meet outside of work and we'll chat about it there. So we did that Friday. We met up, we exchanged numbers, met up outside of work, this little restaurant. And he brought two other brothers along. And we started chatting about basically where did I come from, why am